So really, we are in the 5th day of our Atal FDP session on synthetic biology. It is for the past 4 days. It was really a great, wonderful exposure and experience for us. The level of participants' interaction with the resource person. So today we are having with us Dr. Kapila Kumar, who is basically genetics graduate. He did her MSc Human Genetics in the year 2005 from Punjab University, Chandigarh. Subsequently cleared UGC NET examination in the year 2005 and did her PhD in JIIT Noida. So subsequently, Dr. Kapila Kumar has got very many research achievements. Currently, she is working as an assistant professor, Department of Biotechnology, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad. Dr. Kapila Kumar has received funding from Department of Biotechnology, Government of India in the IBEC program to apply the iGEM competition in MIT, USA, and received funding from IIT Mandi incubator for 3-month residential program for idea exploration. And she also underwent a DBT sponsored training in synthetic biology, very much highly related to our topic. That's what we really selected, invited, requested Dr. Kapila, and she agreed immediately. And she has worked extensively in various research projects in association with the University of Delhi in studies, interaction of studies for Chandipura, chikungunya, and hepatitis viruses. And also her research interests involved molecular mechanisms of infectious diseases and developing therapeutics and diagnostics. Her focus is better understand virus host protein interactions, identify host proteins or pathways required by emerging and re-emerging viruses. Much relevant to the pandemic situation. Madam is having a very good exposure in that line. She has a research interest in developing biosensors and is currently working on biological engineering of microorganisms. She has undergone DBT sponsored training in the field of synthetic biology recently. And she is also acting as a mentor for student startups in her institution. And in that way, she has really attracted funding from DST Newgen, IEDC, and IIT Mandi. So with this, and also she has submitted microbial sequences, 9 different sequences for GenBank sequence submissions, and had more than 15 number of publications in good reputed international journals. And she is really a young and energetic researcher in the field of synthetic biology. And with this brief introduction about Dr. Kapila Kumar, on behalf of Madurai Kamaraj University and on behalf of the organizing committee, the AICTE sponsored Atal FDP program on synthetic biology. We welcome you, madam, and we really welcome on behalf of the Madurai Kamaraj University and on behalf of all the participants who are registered for this program across the country from 25 states, close to 96 institutions. So that is really a great achievement for this program. So welcome you, madam. Now the mic is yours. Please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for such humble introduction. Hello, everybody. Good morning. And let's begin the day, your action-packed last day for this FDP. And I will try to make it as interesting and interactive as possible. As you all have been listening to various sessions on synthetic biology, after 3-4 days, my mind gets blocked up hearing to all those sessions. So let us make it interactive one. So because the topic that I have chosen for this lecture is how synthetic biology started and where lies the future. In between, I will definitely include what I am doing, what my team is doing, and all those things. But the main focus is discussion on how synthetic biology started and what are we expecting out of it. So let's begin with sharing my slides for the day. Okay, so let us get started. Um, So let us begin from the very start. The word synthetic biology. Many scientists have come in this FDP. I was listening to some of the lectures, and they have tried to explain synthetic biology with definitions, with their point of view by taking the words. Um, Synthetic biology has not got a single definition. There are at least 15 to 20 definitions floating on the internet if you scroll down for the definition of synthetic biology. And you can also break up the words as in synthetic and biology. But what I perceive the best definition is it is the convergence. So synthetic biology is not a new science that has just developed. It was already there, what I think. Some may differ from me, from my point of view. But okay, let's keep the discussion on that whether it is a newly developed science or it has just been named and discovered in a new perspective. So it converges the advances of chemistry, biology, computer science, physics, all other engineering backgrounds, and which further enable us to go from idea to product in a faster way. See, the products were happening earlier as well. We were trying with recombinant DNA technology, we were trying with genetic engineering. But what synthetic biology has done to genetic engineering or has surpassed genetic engineering by the way that it has applied the principles of engineering. It was not just hit and trial as we were doing in genetic engineering, but we have come to the very basic principles of engineering that can be applied to biology. But then again, it emphasizes the point that we do not only require the knowledge of biology or a particular field to excel in the field of synthetic biology. It is an amalgamation of different spheres. So it can be thought of as a biology-based toolkit. So whatever we teach in genetic engineering, we teach tools and techniques, right? So you have seen cloning, library construction. You have seen the usage of restriction enzymes, usage of PCR. The toolkit is same, but now that we are applying the principles of engineering, so we are guaranteeing the results. So that is making the formation of products faster and better and in an improved form as was done with genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology. So again, it includes principles of mathematics as well. We will come, we'll see in the latest slides that now it is being put up in binary form. It is being put up in truth tables forms. Many companies have emerged out which have applied only artificial intelligence in biology, and they are putting up their name as BioWorks. So we are applying abstraction, subtraction, and automated construction to the biological principles. And we are seeing, we are still trying. And somewhere we are succeeding, somewhere we are failing. We are still trying and expanding the range of the possible products with the help of synthetic biology. The better word for synthetic biology, I would say, would be biological engineering, because in synthetic biology, when we are playing with life, when we are fiddling with life, when we are trying and testing, so you cannot put the word synthetic. Rather, it should be biological engineering. Anyways, it is a debate since long that how the word came into existence as synthetic biology. So there is a saying that what's in the name. But in biology, it really matters what is the name, because we then start courses in our universities, because as you have seen, genetic engineering is there since long, and there are many universities who are teaching genetic engineering. So there are courses coming up in synthetic biology as well. So it is really interesting to ponder over the thought of the word synthetic biology. So it is a multidisciplinary area of research that seeks to create new biological parts. So parts has now become, you all must have become very familiar with the word bioparts, biobricks, devices, systems. So basically we are using these parts, or which you can, when children play, when kids play with blocks or your Legos. So they are some, there is a subset of parts, specific parts, 8-number Lego, 4-number Lego, and they create multiple structures with those bioparts. Similar in the way of synthetic biology, we have created a repository of parts which are submitted in a specific form, and then these parts can be rejoined, recreated, and in different forms to create different devices and systems. Also, I would like to stress upon here that it is the redesigning of the things that are already found in nature. So we will come to this later when we'll talk about ethics, that we are not creating new. We are just reconnecting with nature. We are just playing with things around us so that we create something better. And that is the actual meaning of technology. When the technology word got associated with bio, so technology is always used in favor of human beings. So whatever we design, whatever we engineer, we use it for the betterment of civilization. So similar way, synthetic biology has come up to make valuable products, to make them faster. So there are all those sayings on the internet. If you will go and surf, are we playing God or are we destroying nature? So that is not the whole cause, or that is not the whole purpose and agenda of synthetic biology. The technology has always come up to create things for the better. So again, a very interesting saying. What are we? What um, what is Dr. Kapila, or what is Dr. Balakrishnan? What are we? We are biological simulations, and we are vibrating. Like we are looking for something. Um, we never sit quiet. We are never stable in our being. So what are we? We are biological simulations. So this quote was quoted by Drew Andy. He is the main force behind iGEM. We'll talk about iGEM later on, and it is inspired by a song. So they say in synthetic biology, life is programmable. We have started programming life. We have started creating binary codes for the life. We have started creating synthetic DNA, synthetic cell, to the synthetic organisms that we call. So we have actually come a long way since we started sequencing genomes, then to um, studying tools and techniques of genetic engineering, to programming life. So we have actually become designers and creators. So but see, life can be programmed in different ways. It can be spiritual programming, like all our these gurus are doing. They program you spiritually, they incline you spiritually. There can be psychological programming, emotional, physiological, chemical programming, and all these programming, if done right, can be the part of synthetic biology. So a few interesting questions again. What is life? See, what we say in synthetic biology is that we are creating life matter. We are putting life in the matter. So how we are different from the matter? We are all formed of the periodic table and the genetic code. So what is different in me than a table or a chair? What is different in me than a glass of water? So it is the DNA, it is the genetic code, it is the sequence of those four bases that makes us different from the matter. So again, I would say that synthetic biology has made it programmable. It means that they have actually started playing with ATGC to create life. I don't want to go into those discussions where they say, if even if we create life, is it alive? Is it alive? Like in Hindi, we say prana. Prana is very different from being alive. If I'm just being alive, it doesn't mean that I have prana inside me. So that is a different kind of debate if we go there. Again, a new question: renamed or rewired? So as I was talking earlier, synthetic biology has been has just been that we have the that trial and putting the bricks and seeing if they would go well or not. Where you know that where you are putting the bricks and they should go in a proper manner, in a manner that you are expecting them to be. So it can be, we can say that it has been rewired. So again, can we engineer life matter? Are we alive or we are just creating life? So but no, when we come to general public, see, we are all biologists sitting here, or maybe people who can understand biology a bit, but to general public, if we take synthetic biology to a layman, the programming of life seems dangerous. And there have been many examples where even scientists have played with life against the ethics, and they have created those things that are dangerous to the society. So in synthetic biology, the biology has gone into the hands of youth, the young generation, the designers, the creative people, the builders, and the corporates. So they have come up very big in the field of biology very fast, because it is so unpredictable, so indefinite, uh, and the returns that you get are so mesmerizing that everybody nowadays, even computer science people, physics people, they are coming and joining hands with biology to create new and new things. So here comes the role of ethics. Where to stop? Where should we stop? And where will we stop in the future is a big question mark. So by now, you all must be very aware of all these tools from where we can engineer a cell, where we can put our DNA, the methods by which we can engineer our DNA, change it. So biobricks and minimum genome. These are the two most common definitions, or the terminologies that you will come across when you will search for synthetic biology on the internet. So let us get to know these terms. Biobricks, they are standard sequences, just like Legos that I told earlier. They are standard sequences that can code for certain functions, and the DNA sequences can be created. See, there are a number of examples. I have quoted just one here. If you take a luciferase gene and put that in a cat, then the cat starts glowing. So that is, we are already taking the set patterns from the nature, putting them in some set formats with when you give shape to a Lego. So they are either rectangular, square, like that. So you are giving the bio parts, the DNA sequences, a certain format that can be reused and reused. So that is called a biobrick. And what is a minimum genome? See, why everybody is after minimum genome. Minimum genome has already been created in 2010, and they have renamed, named and renamed, created and recreated, improvised on that, and they have named it as SynBio 1.0, SynBio 3.0, like that, when they will change it and improve it. So the another name comes to my mind of Craig Venter, Mr. Craig Venter. So he is actually a corporate which has entered into the field of biology, and I would say because he is a biologist, but no, the way of thinking, creating minimum genomes and all those things, creating companies out of biology. So what he has done is he has created a synthetic genome, all synthetic bases and codes, and he's created a synthetic cell, synthetic organism, um, with the minimum number of genes with which the organism can sustain its life. So he has removed the non-functional genes which are not required for the life of an organism, and created a minimum genome out of it. So these are the I have created a random list of processes and parts that are required in synthetic biology. Important thing is you take some small parts like promoter, RBS, some ORF, some genes, and then you arrange them in the form of switches, devices, systems, and you take obviously the help of sequencing, metagenomics, proteomics, and finally you create a library of these parts, repository of these parts from where they can be taken again and again. So coming to iGEM, because this year only my team has participated. The competition culminated in November end. So I would like to talk about the project and the team. And we have won bronze medal in that. So iGEM, the idea of iGEM started in US, MIT, and Drew Endy is the person behind, who is managing iGEM. So what is the idea? I think it is kind of hijacking a particular field of science, and even though we are applying to it, we are being creative, but all the repositories kept with them, and all from all over the globe ideas are being presented and assessed. So iGEM stands for International Genetically Engineered Machine. So here in the name itself, they have changed the organism to machine. So what is iGEM all about? The competition is to make newly genetically engineered systems. See, it is very different from simple genetic engineering. Although I have till this slide, I am making comparisons of synthetic biology and genetic engineering. Still, synthetic biology stands far away from genetic engineering, because there comes the principles and of engineering into biology. Genetic engineering was only about discussing biology. So high schools, undergraduates, postgraduates, all universities can participate in iGEM. They create their projects, and it usually happens in September, October. But this time it because it went virtual, it was not happening in Boston, it was virtual. So it got delayed a bit. So why iGEM has been founded? To advance the field of synthetic biology, because synthetic biology was, as I told earlier, um, usually people get scared of the word engineering and biology, because biology students were actually very far away from engineering principles, but now the scenario is changing. So the idea of creating iGEM was to advance the field of synthetic biology.
ஹலோ ஜெனிஃபர், என்ன இந்த மலையில போனியா இல்லையா?
Somebody's mic is on.
சரி 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 சரி. நினைச்சேன் நானு பயங்கர மழையா
Dr.
இருக்கு.
Balakrishnan, am I audible?
Yes, that is unmuted. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So the idea of iGEM was to advance the field of synthetic biology, to take the field of this field to the younger generation, to bring it to the students so that they can think innovatively and they can solve day-to-day problems. These are the different tracks where your project is put on: energy, environment, food and nutrition, foundational advance, health and medicine, information processing, manufacturing, and new applications. So they have considered almost all kinds of tracks that are possible. This is my team. We participated this time, and this is an amalgamation of undergrad as well as postgrad students. And this is the project that we presented. The project is named Leak Off. So the leak off word has come from the two Pokemons that can sense harmful gases in the air. So all those who have slept through all those slides, let's wake up and guess what 78 would stand for. Let's take your guesses in the chat box. I would want to hear some of the. I would like to see some of the guesses in the chat box. How can I see the chat box, sir? Yes. So any guesses for the number 78?
Actually, at the right corner, you can able to see the.
Yes, sir, I got it. Sir, got it. Yeah. So come on, students, faculty members. Come on, let's get started with the day. No, it is not a gene number. No, not 78 new synthetic genes.
Any clue? You can give?
Yes. I will give a clue. It is related to air, atmosphere. No. No strain number. Atmosphere. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very good students. Yes, you are coming up. Yeah, got it. Great. So it is the nitrogen percentage in the air. So interesting number, that 78% of the air is formed of nitrogen, and that is what our project was all about. I'll make it a slideshow. Yeah. So nitrogen pollution, I would say that is more alarming and dangerous than carbon pollution. Although when the politicians or when educationists, they were bringing pollution to the general public, they were making them aware of the pollution word. So they used carbon as the main pollutant, carbon as the main source of pollution. Till now, till date, we think that carbon monoxide is the major player in air pollution. But if you see a graph on the right hand side, you will see the upper two bars are only the contributors to the pollution in the air. All the lower bars, they are coming from nitrogen. So it is more concerning owing to the dearth of awareness. We people are not even aware of the grave situation here. So leave it research. Okay. So amongst nitrogen also, you must have heard of many species of nitrogen that are being formed in a chain of reactions, and those who act as pollutants. Even in UNEP, this thing, Frontiers Notebook, that they conduct conference every year, they say that ammonia, NOx gases are the contributors of nitrogen pollution, and they come through various sources like agricultural runoff from the fertilizers, because most of the fertilizers that we are using are nitrogen based. So it comes as industrial waste. So even today, nitrosamines and nitrosamines are the most neglected pollutants that are coming out of nitrogen pollution. So in the big picture, nitrogen pollution itself is undermined. And in nitrogen pollution, if we are talking about the agencies that are looking into nitrogen pollution, and nitrosamines are the compound that have been highly neglected. But so that was the thing, that was the inception of our project for iGEM this year, that N-nitrosamines are the neglected compounds that are not being looked upon for consideration. So the detrimental potential of alkylating agents like nitrosamines includes their carcinogenicity and contamination of the environment, including water resources, and that inspired us to design a biosensing solution to detect these. So human activity has actually changed the natural cycling of nitrogen. Many of you will agree with me that nitrogen was always a friend, right? But now it has turned into a foe. Nitrogen was always present in the air as an inert gas, as 78% of it was building in the is in the atmosphere. But it was inert. It was of no harm. But the human activity has created such compounds out of nitrogen species which are highly detrimental. So yeah, so these are the various forms of nitrogen which are available in the atmosphere: ammonia, nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrate, nitrous oxide. So we all are aware of all these compounds. This picture is from UNEP report. Still, we can see that there is no mention of nitrosamines. So these are certain examples of the nitrosamines which are formed from the secondary amines and reactive nitrogen species. So reactive nitrogen species, they give rise to N-nitrosamines from secondary amines, and they are genotoxic as well as cytotoxic and carcinogenic. So nitrosamines are ubiquitous in nature. Ubiquitous means they are found everywhere. You cannot leave a single substance. It is found in food, it is found in water, your cosmetics, your medicines. Many medicines have been banned because they had high concentration of nitrosamines than the admissible levels. Many cosmetic companies have been shut down because of higher concentration of nitrosamines. These are some of the important papers that we have referred for our project, and these are all recent papers. You will notice they are all these papers are after 2013-14. So how do we detect these nitrosamines in various samples? The current methods that are used are basically analytical method, that is HPLC, GCMS, or NST, which are used to detect the concentration of these compounds in various samples. But you all know the harmful, or I would say the negative side of these analytical methods is they are very expensive. They are located at a certain facility, so they reduce the day-to-day monitoring of these compounds. So we here in my project, you will notice that how synthetic biology has come to the lab. So you will get a fair idea of how you can also think of something creative to actually designing it on the slab. So what we have done is we have used a property of these nitrosamines, which is the alkylation property. So alkylation means an alkyl group is added to the DNA of the organism in which this nitrosamine is it goes inside the cell. So whenever there is alkylation of DNA base, so there is nitrosamines, they specifically cause methylation of DNA bases. So whenever there is methylation of DNA bases, there is a natural mechanism in E. coli. There is a chemosensor called ADA protein. So ADA protein, it is a part of repair system of E. coli, where it detects, it chemosenses the methylated DNA and it goes and demethylates it. So there is a methyl shift from DNA to ADA protein in a natural mechanism in E. coli. So that's what we have exploited for our project. So what we have done is, this is the BioBrick. I will explain it in a few minutes. So this is the technical framework where there was a normal DNA, then some alkylating agent like nitrosamines, it comes, it causes a specific lesion in the DNA, which is called O6-methylguanine lesion. And whenever there is the detection of this particular lesion, the ADA response proteins can scan it. When ADA protein comes in contact with this lesion, there is a methyl shift reaction and the methyl group is transferred from the DNA to the ADA protein. And this ADA protein will go and act as a transcriptional activator and it will bind to a ADA-ALK-B promoter. And we have attached a reporter gene with this promoter so that whenever there is a methylated ADA in the vicinity of this promoter, the GFP reporter will be switched on. So that is how we have exploited this mechanism of alkylation and DNA repair system, which was natural. And we have just put some principles of synthetic biology. We have used some different promoters, some terminators, some RBS at the appropriate sites, a reporter gene at the appropriate site to finally create a system that can detect these nitrosamines. So this is the framework of the construct that we made. So this is ADA-ALK-B promoter with your RBS, and there is a reporter gene. So we have combined them. And if your ADA protein would get methylated after methylation of DNA, the reporter gene will be switched on. So these are the parts that we have contributed in the repository of iGEM, and this is the BioBrick that we have designed. The symbols indicate RBS, protein coding gene. This is terminator, promoter. This is the composite part in which there are two parts combined, and this is the reporter gene. So I would highlight here that ADA protein, although is present in the E. coli system, but there are very few molecules that are present there, only 0 to 6 molecules. So to increase the sensitivity of our biosensor, we have put up a constitutive promoter at the starting of the ADA gene, so that there is enough quantity of ADA that can detect nitrosamines in the system to make it more robust. So that all codon optimization and implementation of the project has been done, and the proof of concept has been generated and discussed with DBT. So these are the achievements. Our project has been acknowledged at the state level by the Chief Minister of Haryana, and we have won many competitions. We have also got a seed money of 2.5 lakhs by DST. And we have tried this time for iGEM. For that, we have won IBEC. So the fully sponsored team from DBT, Government of India, and we participated in iGEM and won a bronze medal for our project. So this is another project of mine, which is being incubated at IIT Mandi. And we have secured a funding of 1.5 lakhs for this as well. So it is another kind of biosensor, not cell-based. The previous one was cell-based biosensor, but it involves a bit of synthetic biology in the term that what we are making a point of care device where we can detect vitamin D in the blood of the patient. So vitamin D, as the pandemic has already told us, that it is your immunity which is actually fighting against the various diseases. So if you are better equipped with your immune system, you have a good number of vitamins, minerals, micronutrients in your blood, so you are better equipped to fight with the disease. And one of the important players, as has been recognized worldwide, is vitamin D. So we are designing a point of care device. It is already both ideas have been patented, and point of care device. So what we are using here as a no, binding agent is aptamer based antibodies to vitamin D, and this project is in preparation at IIT Mandi. So how you can get involved with iGEM? You can start your team. It is a big team. I had 13 students. You can take more than that also. You can start your team at your college. You can consider a career in synthetic biology, and let us make the world realize that how creative India is by giving them more participation. And with this, I would like to close my presentation for the day. Let's change the world. I had written, but it can be let's improve the world with synthetic biology, and let's biologize the industry and not industrialize the biology. So that is very important saying from one of the TEDx talks I have been listening to, that we should the aim should be to biologize the industries, to be humble, be kind, be spiritual, be philosophical, be ethical, and not just make money out of biology. So that is all from the talk today. I hope you like it, and I would like to have some feedback for it. Thank you so much.